Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram. Sri Satchidananda Sadguru Sai Nath Maharaj ki jai. Sri Satchidananda Sadguru Sai Karnananda Maharaj ki jai. Sri Satchidananda Jagat Guru Valyugiraj Sai Nara Maharaj ki jai. Sai Leelavati Mata ki jai. Chapter 5 Sri Sai Satcharitra Baba's return with Chand Patil's marriage party, welcomed and addressed as Sai, contact with other sons, his attire and daily routine, the story of Padukas, missing boat with Mohiddin and Change in life, turning water into oil, the Pseudo guru Javhar Ali. Return with Chand Patil's marriage party. As hinted in the last chapter, I shall now describe first how Sai Baba returned to Shirdi after his disappearance. This lived in the Aurangabad district, Nizam state, in the village called Dhoop. A well-to-do Mohammedan gentleman by name Chand Patil, while he was making a trip to Aurangabad, he lost his mare for 2 long months. He made a diligent search but could get no trace of the lost mare. After being disappointed, he returned from Aurangabad with a saddle on his back. After travelling 4 kos and a half, he came on the way to a mango tree under the foot of which sat a fakir, queer fellow. He had a cap on his head, wore kafni, long robe, and had a satka, short stick, under his arm, and he was preparing to smoke a chillum pipe. On seeing Chand Patil pass by the way, he called out to him and asked him to have a smoke and to rest a little. The queer fellow or fakir asked him about the saddle. Chand Patil replied that it was of his mare, which was lost some time back. The fakir asked him to make a search in the Nala close by. He went, and the wonder of wonders, he found the mare there. He thought that the fakir was not an ordinary man, but a awliya, a great saint. He returned to the fakir with the mare. The chillum was ready for being smoked, but 2 things were wanting: fire to light the pipe and water to wet the chappy piece of cloth through which smoke is drawn up. The fakir took his prong and thrust it forcibly into the ground, and out came a live empire, which he put on the pipe. Then he dashed a satka on the ground from where water began to ooze. The chappy was wetted with that water, then wrung out and wrapped round the pipe. Thus, everything being complete, the fakir smoked chillum, and they gave it also to Chand Patil. On seeing all this, Chand Patil was wonderstruck. He requested the fakir to come to his home and accept his hospitality. Next day, he went to the Patil's house and stayed there for some time. Patil was a village officer of Dhoop. His wife's brother's son was to marry, and the bride was from Shirdi. So Patil made preparations to start for Shirdi for the marriage. The fakir also accompanied the marriage party. The marriage went off without any hitch. The party returned to Dhoop, except the fakir, who stayed back in the Shirdi and remained there forever. How the fakir got the name Sai? When the marriage party came to Shirdi, it alighted at the foot of a banyan tree in Bhagat Masapati's field near Khandoba temple. The carts were loosened in the open courtyard of Khandoba's temple, and the members of the party descended one by one. And the fakir also got down. Bhagat Masapati saw the young fakir getting down and accosted him, "Ya Sai, welcome Sai." Others also addressed him as a Sai, and thenceforth he became Sai Baba. Contact with other saints. Sai Baba began to stay in the deserted masjid. One saint named Devidas was living in Shirdi for many years. Before Baba came there, Baba liked his company. He stayed with him in the Maruti temple in the Chowdi and sometimes lived alone. Then came another saint by name Janaki Das. Baba spent most of his time in talking with him, or Janaki Das went to Baba's residence. So also one Vaishya householder sent from the Pantami by name Gangagir always frequented Shirdi. When he first saw Sai Baba carrying pictures of water in both hands for watering the garden, he was amazed and said openly, "Blessed is the Shirdi that it got this precious jewel." This man is carrying water to the day, but he is not an ordinary fellow. As this land, Shirdi was fortunate and meritorious. It secured this jewel, so alone one famous saint by name Anandanath of Yavala Math, a disciple of Akalkot Maharaj, named to Shirdi with some people when he saw Sai Baba. He said openly, this was a precious diamond in reality, though he looks like an ordinary man. He is not a gar, ordinary stone, but a diamond. You will realize this in the near future. Saying this, he returned to Yavala. This was sad while Sai Baba was a youngster. Baba's race and daily routine. In his young days, Sai Baba grew hair on his head, never had his head shaved. He dressed like an athlete. When he went to the Rahata, 3 miles from Shirdi, he brought with him small plants of marigold, jai and jui, and after cleaning, he planted the water dam. A devotee by name Vamanatya supplied him daily with 2 unbaked earthen pitchers. With these, Baba himself uses to water the plants. He drew water from the well and carried the pitchers on his shoulders. In the evening, the pitchers were kept at the foot of the neem tree. As soon as they were placed there, they were broken as they were made of raw earth and not baked. Next day, Tata supplied 2 fresh pictures. This course went on for 3 years, and with Sai Baba's toil and effort, there grew a garden. On this side, at present, stands the big mansion Samadhi Mandir of Baba, which is now frequented and used by so many devotees. The story of Padukas footprints under the neem tree. A devotee of Akalkot by name Bhai Krishna Ji Alibakkar worshipped a photo of Akalkot Maharaj. He once thought of going to Akalkot, Solapur district, take the darshan of the Padukas footprints of the Maharaj and offer his sincere prayer there. But before he could go there, he got a vision in his dream. Akalkot Maharaj appeared in the vision and said to him, "Now Shirdi is my resting place. Go there and offer your worship." So Bhai changed his plan and came to Shirdi. Worshipped Baba stayed there for 6 months and was happy as a reminiscence of the vision, etc. He prepared the Padukas and installed them on the auspicious day of Shravana. Shaka 1834-1912 AD, under the neem tree with due ceremonies and formalities conducted by Dada Kilkar and Upasani. One Dikshit Brahmin was appointed for worship and the management was entrusted to devotee Saguna. Complete version of this story. Mr. B.V. Dev, retired Mamladar of Thana and a great devotee of Sai Baba, made inquiries about this matter with Saguna Meru Naik and Govind Kamlakar Dikshit and has published a full version of the Padukas in Sai Leela, volume number 11, number 1, page 25. It runs as follows. In 1834 Shaka 1912 AD, when Dr. Ramanrao Kothari of Mumbai came to Shirdi for Baba's darshan, his compounder and his friend Bhai Krishna Ji Alibakkar accompanied him. The compounder and the Bhai came intimate with the Saguna Meru Nayak and G.K. Dikshit. While discussing things, these persons thought that there must be some memorial of Sai Baba's first advent at Shirdi. And sitting under the holy neem tree, they thought of installing Baba's Padukas there and were going to make them of some rough stone. Then Bhai's friend, the compounder, suggested that if this matter was made known to this master, Dr. Ramanand Kothari, he would prepare the nice Padukas for this purpose. Or liked this proposal, and Dr. Kothari was informed of it. He came to the Shirdi and drew a plan of the Padukas. He went to the Upasani Maharaj in Khandoba's temple and showed him his plan. The latter made many improvements, due lotus flowers, conch, disc, mace, etc., and suggested that the following shloka verse regarding neem tree's greatness and Baba's yogic powers be inscribed. The verse was as follows. Sada nimba vrikshasya mulhadhi vasata sudhastravinam tiktama pyapriyam tama tarum kalpa vriksha dhikam sadhayatam Namameshwaram Sadgurum Sainatham. Upasni's suggestions were accepted and carried out. The Padukas were made in the Mumbai and sent to the Shirdi, with the compounded Baba said that they should be installed on the Purnima, 15th of Shravana. On that day, at 11 a.m., Dr. Dikshit brought them on his head from Khandoba's temple to the Dwarkamai Masjid. In the procession, Baba touched the Padukas, saying that these are the feet of the Lord, and asked the people to install them under foot of the neem tree. A day before, one Parsi devotee of Mumbai named Pastor Sheth sent rupees 25 by money order. Baba gave this sum for the installation of the Padukas. The total expense of the installation came up to rupees 100, out of which 75 were collected by subscriptions. For the first 5 years, G.K. Dikshit worshipped the Padukas daily, and then this was done by Lakshmana Kancheshwar Jakhadi. In the first 5 years, Dr. Kothari sent rupees 2 per month for lighting lamp, and he also sent the railing round the Padukas. The expense of the bringing the railing from the station to the Shirdi, rupees 780, presently rupees 7.5 paisa, and roofing was paid by Saguna Meru Nayak, now Jakhadi. Nana Pujari does the worship, and Saguna Meru Nayak offers the Naivedya and lights the evening lamps. Bhai Krishna ji was originally a devotee of the Kalkot Maharaj. He had come to Shirdi at the installation of the Padukas in Shaka 1834 on this way to Akalkot. He wanted to go to the Akalkot after taking the darshan of the Baba. He asked Baba's permission for this. Baba said, "Oh, what is there in the Akalkot? Why do you go there? The Maharaj of the place is here myself." Hearing this, Bhai did not go to the Akalkot. He came to the Shirdi off and on after the installation of the Padukas. Mr. P.V. Dev concluded that Hemarpan did not know these details. Had he known them, he would not have failed to depict them in the Satcharitra. Wrestling bout with the Mohiddin, Tamboli, and change in lifestyle. To return to the other stories of Baba, there was a whistler in Shirdi by name Mohiddin Tamboli Baba, and he did not agree to some points, and both had a fight. In this, Baba was defeated. Thenceforth, Baba changed his dress and mode of living. He donned kafni, wore a langot, waistband, and covered his head with a piece of cloth. He took a piece of sackcloth for his fat and was content with the wearing tone and worn out rags. He always said the poverty is better than kingship, far better than lordship. The Lord is always brother, befriender of the poor. Gangagir was also very fond of wrestling. While he was once wrestling, a similar feeling of dispassion descended over him, and at the proper time he heard the voice of an adept saying that he should wear out his body playing with God. So he too gave up sansara and turned towards God realization. He established a mutt on the banks of the river near Puntape and lived there with his disciples. Sai Baba did not mix and speak with the people. He only answers when he was questioned. By day he always sat under the neem tree, sometimes under the shade of the babul tree, near the stream at the outskirts of the village. In the afternoon he used to walk at random and go at times to Neemgaon. There he frequented the house of Bala Sahib Dingley. Baba loved Mr. Bala Sahib. His younger brother named Nana Sahib had no son. Though he married a second wife, Bala Sahib sent Nana Sahib for taking the darshan of Sai Baba, and after some time, with his grace, Nana Sahib got a son. From that time onwards, people began to come in the numbers to see Sai Baba, and his fame began to spread and reach Ahmednagar. From thence, Nana Sahib Chandorkar and Akeshav Chidambar and many others began to come to Shirdi. Baba was surrounded by his devotees during day and slept at night in an old and dilapidated masjid. Baba's paraphernalia at this time consisted a chillum, tobacco, a tamril, tin pot, and a long kafni, a piece of cloth around his head, and a satka, short stick, which he always kept with him. The piece of white cloth on the head was twisted like matted hair and flowed down from the left ear on the back. This was not washed for weeks. He wore no shoes, no sandals, a piece of sackcloth with his seat for most of the day. He wore a coupon waist cloth band for warding off cold. He always sat in the front of the Dhoni circuit fire facing south, with his left hand resting on the wooden railing. In that Dhoni, he offered an oblation of egoism. Desires and always uttered Allah Malik, God is the sole owner. The masjid in which he sat was only of the two-room dimensions, where all devotees came and saw him. After 1912, there was a change. The old masjid was repaired and the pavement was constructed. Before Baba came to live in this masjid, he lived for a long time in the place Takia with a gunguru small bells tied on his ankles. Baba danced beautifully and sang with tender love, turning water into oil. Sai Baba was very fond of lights. He used to borrow oil from shopkeepers and keep lamps burning. The whole night in the masjid and the temple, this went on for some time. The Banyas who supplied oil gratis once met together and decided not to give him oil. When, as usual, Baba went to ask for oil, they all gave up distinct no, unperturbed. Baba returned to the masjid and kept the dry wicks in the lamps. And the Banyas were watching him with curiosity. Baba took the tamdil tin pot which contained a little few drops of oil but put water into it and drank it and then forced it fall into the container. After consecrating the tin pot in this way, he again took the water from the tin pot and filled all the lamps with it and lightened them. To the surprise and dismay of the watching Banyas, the lamps began to burn and kept burning the whole night. The Banyas repented and apologized, and Baba forgave them and asked them to be made truthful in the future. The Pseudo Guru Javhar Ali. 5 years after the wrestling bout and the above mentioned, one fakir from Ahmednagar by name Javhar Ali came to Rahata with his disciples and stayed in Bakhal, spacious room near Virabhadra temple. The fakir was learned, could repeat the whole Quran and had sweet tongue. Many religious and devout people of the village came to him and began to respect him. With the help of the people, he started to build the Idgah, a walled enclosure in which Mohammedans pray on Eid day. Near the Virabhadra temple, there was some quarrel about this affair on account of Javhar Ali had to leave Rahata. Then he came to the city and lived in the masjid with Baba. People were captured by his sweet talk and he began to call Baba his disciple. Baba did not object and consented to be a chela. Then both Guru and the chela decided to return to the Rahat and live there. The Guru teacher never knew his disciple's worth, but the disciple knew the shortcomings of the Guru. Still, he never disrespected him, observing carefully his duties. He even served the master in various ways. They used to come to Shirdi off and on, but their mainstay was in Rahata. The loving devotees of Baba in Shirdi did not like that Baba should stay away from them in Rahata. So they went in the deputation to bring Baba back to the Shirdi. When they met Baba near the Idgah and told the purpose for which they came, Baba said to them that the fakir was an angry, ill-tempered fellow. He would not leave him, and they should go back to Shirdi without him. Before the fakir returned, while they were thus talking, the fakir turned up and was very angry with them for trying to take away his disciple. There was some hot discussion and altercation, and it was finally decided that both the Guru and the Chela should return to Shirdi. And so they returned and lived in Shirdi, but after a few days the Guru was tested by the Devi Das, and he was found wanting. 12 years before Baba arrived in Shirdi with the marriage party, this Devidas, aged about 10 or 12 years, 10, 11 years, came to Shirdi and lived in the Maruti temple. Devidas had a fine features and a brilliant eyes, and he was dispassion incarnate and a dhyani. Many persons, namely Tatyakote, Kashinath, and others, regarded him as a guru. They brought Javhar Ali in his presence, and in the discussion that followed, Javhar was stayed and freed from Shirdi. He went and stayed in Bijapur and returned after many years to Shirdi and prostrated himself before Sai Baba. The delusion that he was Guru and the Sai Baba, his jailer, was cleared away, and as he repented, Sai Baba treated him with respect. In this case, Sai Baba showed by his conduct how one should get rid of egoism and do the duties of the disciple to attain the highest end, that is self realization. This story is told here according to the version given by the Mahalsapati, a great devotee of Baba. In the next chapter will be described Ram Navami festival, the masjid, its former condition and later improvement in it, etc. More to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sai Karnananda Maharaj ki jai. Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Jagat Guru Bal Yugraj Sai Nara Maharaj ki jai. Sai Lilavati Mata ki jai.